Hello there Voltage Modular people, Poohbear here and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to have a quick look at a preset pack which I've managed to get put into my bundle. No surprises, it's called Pooh's Goodie Bag presets. Nice and simple. There isn't like hundreds and hundreds of presets, it's just like to get you started. Under the complex ones, these ones have come from videos I've made, so I've included them here, but they've obviously been extended in certain places and I've called them more complex because it's above and beyond the core version. You're going to need the first year version, you're going to need some other extra modules to get them all to work. But I do have the drums and percussions, which I won't go over today, and the nucleus, which are actually all made with the nucleus devices, so even with the free version of VM and obviously with my devices you can get all of these to work. I'm actually going to start this top one here, which I've happened to be called cabinets, which is PB. Let's just quieten it off. Called PB Store and Forward. The whole purpose of this particular one, and let me just zoom out a second, here we go. The whole purpose of this particular preset is we save the top row as a cabinet so we can bolt it onto any kind of sounds we want. Yes, there are 8 variations, including with this, which will go through 8 different storing forwards. There's a lot more storing forwards, so there's some other ones down the end here which are designed really for you to start using them to transpose the other storing forwards. But so let's just hear the basic 8 variations we've got at the moment, and it's just running this little nucleus device down here. So as I say, the real purpose of this is just to right click and really say save as a cabinet. I'm going to obviously save that in my own modules, and obviously you need to give it a name. I'm going to call it PB Store and Forward and save. And so that's now in my as a cabinet file, so I can now obviously come along. I can say, hey, let's go to all my collections, let's go and grab a random patch out. It doesn't really matter what patch we're going to grab. There we go, one called Deep Riser. We can grab that. We can obviously go to my library now and go to cabinets, and we need to find PB Storing Forward. There it is. We can now grab that and whack it in. And now what we need to do is obviously get some gate and CV, I call it CV, pitch data, sorry, into that. So the best way I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the top here, as you can see. If I zoom in, he says, here we go. I'm going to grab that. I'll hold the shift key down just in case there's more cables, and I'm going to put it on this first output here of this input because I know that's my pitch. And let's very quickly grab the gate and pull that down, and I'm going to put that down to the second one. So all pitch data is going into this one, and all gates going into this from all these different ones. And now I can just go along and just start previewing until I find something I actually like. You know, it's just a straightforward case that we should be able to turn it on and we should get sound. Because of the way this is set up, I think I need to play around with the filter. But you get the idea now. We can just literally go along until you find something you like, and then off you go, really. And oh, I like that one. So I'm going to quickly grab that up the top there. I'm actually going to grab that up, and because I'm going to be a little bit lazy with my wiring, I'm going to grab that up. And now theoretically, if I remove this cabinet here, these are already just wired up themselves, all ready to go, and we can obviously now use this to play this and all the rest of it, and we can obviously play, yeah, it's ready to go, really, he says. So I get a bit carried away myself. That was quite a good match. What a nice find. I'm going to probably save that one for later. So let's go on and have a look at some of the other presets I've got in my particular package. And there we go. And as I say, the main one I'm going to go through. Let's go through the nucleus set to start with. So straightforward. Only a storing forward in this one. There isn't anything else really fancy. Yes, I've got some gators. Then the gators are actually doing the patterns for the drum. Just very, very quickly, funny story really. The gators weren't designed to do patterns for drums. I just happened to use them a real lot for doing my drums. They were originally designed to bolt after a storing forward so you could actually give yourself a rest. So if you say you had 8 steps in here, well, you can have 8 steps here, and obviously you could knock a step out and give yourself a rest. That was the whole purpose really of gators, but I've used them all over the time for doing patterning, for doing drums, because you can obviously have 8 patterns, or you can have 1,000 patterns. It's down to you. So let's just quickly hear this one, very straightforward. Okay, on this one, what we've got ourselves a straight 8 pattern going on, and we've got this other storing forward. It's obviously just got 4 steps in it, and we're going to use these 4 steps to go through the transer and transpose the 8 step, the pattern which is coming out of the 8-step one. Oh dear, get my Wurlitz the right way around. It sounds like this. Similar sort of thing, we're going to be using this storing forward to transpose the data which is coming out of this storing forward. However, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have a play around with the swing stuff on this one, so I should really get myself zoomed in for this. Do note that when you play with the odd button, it is on the reset, so you have to reset it. So you're going to be seeing me hitting the go button for it to take effect. This is quite a straightforward one. It's really showing off the transer, which is wired up to the keyboard pitch input. So we've got we've got a whopping 3 steps in this particular storing forward. That's all we're using, and we're just going to be transposing it, obviously using the keyboard, and it goes something like this. Nice and straightforward. This is a real nice one. It's actually showing off the flip-flop counters over the other side. Let's see if we can get them in. It's this particular one, because I do have it set up where I might flip-flop between the panning. This one's not, it's just flip-flopping the octaves on the bass line. Again, we've got 2 storing forwards, one actually doing a little bit more of the high stuff, and then there's a bass one coming out as well. And you probably find, yeah, so this one over here is actually triggering the flip-flop counters, and obviously I'm not using the gate out on this one, I'm just using the CV out only. And it's quite a chill patch, I think this one is. I rather like this one, nice and simple. As I said, that was a straightforward patch. Similar sort of thing, but this time we've got a lot of panning going on actually. So I'm actually using the flip-flop counter to switch the audio from one speaker to the other. So ideally you could do with headphones on at this point. Oh, just to quickly point out, I'm using this step sequencer just to get a voltage out. As I said, we're using nucleus only, so this is one way you can get yourself a single volt, 2 volts, 5 volts out and do other things. And a little bit later on, you'll see this disappear and I replace it using the in range instead. So this one is, again, we've got a lot of panning going on, but this time I've actually got a gator which I'm taking the information out of that gator to drive a different gator down here, and then that gator is actually then taking some of this voltage itself, inverting the voltage and actually dragging the gate length down on this particular one over here, and this sounds a bit like this. Another one where really what we're doing is we're taking this CV data and we're actually doing a split with that over here. So we're using the same data to drive obviously the main voice as well as the bass voice, and as I said, here's where I'm using my in range and I'm sort of doing a flip-flop with the octaves on the bass to give it a rocking sound, and it looks like I should be doing some pan and swell with this, and this one sounds like this. Okay, this is quite a big patch. This is the Rush patch, and I did demo this in one of my videos, so you can obviously go through that a lot more of how this really hangs together. As you can see, all over the place on this particular one, there's flip-flop counters, left, right, and centre. Yeah, and there's a lot going on here, and yeah, and it sounds like this. So the flip-flop counter is really a change in between the hi-hat, making the hi-hat sound different. Same with the kick, it's obviously changing the kick patterns, and that's what I use a lot of the flip-flop things for. obviously when you've got this kind of one, this is the randomization one, so you can have obviously a weighted randomization process, which I use a lot really in generative projects, but it's also quite handy even with a nice little project like this as well. So let's actually go on to the more of the complex ones now. Let's start from the top. So this was from my, I think it was, I called it making a cabinet, or how do you use your cabinets. So this is made up of loads of different cabinets I've put together. It's the big difference which changed maybe from that video is I've added a stop and the start button. I've also used this flip-flop counter, which is actually controlling the mute button on this stereo mix. So when you first hear it to start with, because there's this forever mode, it's going to sound a lot quieter, like a bit of like an intro really. And then when this flips into 64, goes over that counter because it's in a forever mode, it then brings everything else in. And what else we've got going on down here? Oh yeah, we've just got loads of little drums and loads of other things, a few gators. And this one sounds like this, and as I say, I've got two buttons now, and I say, it's this one here. This is one. Memory mode is really just showing off the memory mode. I just obviously, when I got that, I just quickly knocked something together. Again, it's just making use of a few little flip-flop switches and a few other bits and bobs going on, and it sounds like this. Obviously this is like my closing counter type thing. This is a real cut down version. I probably should put up the, and I will, I'll make sure I make the Reason project available, which I did behind that particular one for you Reason users, because that's what this one really uses a lot. At the top, this was going out, and I was using that obviously to fire off and control loads of Reason instruments, or instruments in Reasons, which just happened to be Cherry Audio's instruments, most of them. I think all of them did. Was there a drum? I can't remember. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked, and this one sounds like this. Not a lot without the other instruments playing. Now it's just going in through the gators. It's exactly the same sound we was hearing, or tune we was hearing, being gated out. Now, I did save this one till last. Again, I think it was called Making a Synth bass patch. I can't quite remember what I called the title. One, it's there again up on my channel. The big difference between what was in that video and this one now is I've actually added this big section down here. It's not really a big section, but it's making use of the flip-flop counters, and it's actually, I've got a weighted randomization process going on here, which is actually being a shifted weighted randomization process, and there's going to be some tinkles over the top, which is purely randomized, which is being played, and obviously I've got a bass section which is going on at the top there. So this all together sounds a bit like this.